Good evening mga kalaro and welcome to the Council of Titos, the show on the Laro-Laro lang channel where sport Titos talk about a different kind of game, the reality TV game show and social experiment that has run for over 2 decades, Survivor. I'm Chief Bisdak Joel Parcon, and with me as always is Vice Chief Bisdak Jao Atienza. What's up, Jao? How are you doing?
Hey, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. So new season, and also Jao is a newly married man. So how's it been going?
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. It was a thing in it was a you know what? We should have like an episode where like I give like wedding tips and stuff.
Ooh.
Stuff like invite everybody, but have it as far away as possible. That way everybody is
Destination
like
wedding.
That's yeah, that way everybody is obliged to give you a gift, but not everybody's gonna go.
True. Ooh, that's an idea.
That sort of thing.
That's an idea. Okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, we're also missing the third council member, Martin, who isn't feeling too well. Get well soon, dude.
Yep.
Anyway, before we start, I just want to show this. Let me just take off my headphones first. I was supposed to get this in time for the finale last time, so I'm just gonna show it off now. Yeah, it's my buff. I don't know if I'm supposed to, if I should wear it up top here. Does it even show? It needs to show, right? It needs to show, right? So there you go. I got a buff. It was supposed to be in time for the finale last time. Unfortunately, shipping delays cost. Is it? Oh, it's on the other way. My God. It was the show. I did not rehearse. We did not rehearse this at all. So I don't know how to put this on actually.
It looks good. So I mean, there.
But this is from Survivor 43. Special thanks to our friend from the official Pinoy Survivor group, Facebook group, Rex Palma, for doing the pasabay for some of us.
Yeah, shout out. So I was hoping that you would wear that for the and it's quite a bit of a mouthful. The Coco Gen Insurance Ball Out Sports Founders Club Provincial Division Finals.
Yeah.
Of which you were one of the commentators.
Yeah, I did. I have been doing sports casting on the side. We just finished yesterday. The finals happened yesterday, so that's why my voice is a little bit ragged as well. I did a full weekend of talking about basketball. So yeah, after talking about basketball for 2 straight days, let's go ahead and talk about Survivor. Survivor season 44, of course, it's going to premiere on March 1. And Jao and I are going to take a look at the 3 tribes, who we think are standout performers from all of the castaways, and maybe even give a winner pick or two. I did get the winner pick before for season 43. And yeah, some thoughts that we want to see or stuff that we don't want to see anymore for the upcoming 44th season. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's first take a look at the tribes that we have here. We have 3 tribes. We've got the Tika tribe. Of course, all they are retaining the same format, 3 tribes of 6, and then it's still the 26-day format for the Survivor 44. They I don't think that they're gonna go back to the 39-day format anytime soon.
Yeah.
So you've got the Tika tribe. They've got the guy is called Yam Arocho.
Jam, right? That's how he pronounces
it. Oh yeah,
Jam.
Yeah.
Jam.
Arocho. And then there's Carson Garrett, Helen Lee, Bruce Perrault, Carolyn Wigger, I don't know, Sarah Wade. Meanwhile, for Soka, Tika, their color is purple. And then for Soka, that's green. And I am already foreseeing that this the first guy on the list is going to be one of Zhao's standout performers, Matt Blankenship.
How did you know?
And then there's also Heidi Lagares Greenblatt. I don't know if the Lagares means that she's got Filipino blood, because they've sort of been infusing a lot of Filipino blood in the past couple of seasons. Franny Marin, Danny Massa, Claire Raffson, and Josh Wilder. And then for the Ratu tribe, the orange. The color is orange. You've got Brandon Cottom, Kane Fritzler, Matthew Grinstead Maley, Lauren Harp, Maddie Pomilia, and Jamie Lynn Ruiz. Of course, I also searched if Jamie Lynn Ruiz is Filipino, but I think that she's Latina. Yeah, so
All
that's
right.
what we've got here. We've got a good diverse group, right,
Yeah.
of castaways.
So I assume that you are going to be pulling for somebody on the Soka tribe, given your buff.
Yeah, I've got the green buff. So I've got I do have I do have one from the Soka tribe. I actually have three, but I'll yeah. And I think that we have the same one from the Soka tribe. Yeah, so anyway, so let's get right into that. So who's your standout castaway?
Matt.
Matt Blankenship,
Matt
the high
Blankenship.
lookalike, the high and Owen character for season 44.
And here's one of his quotes, right? He wants to aspire to combine the listening and consensus building strengths of Yule with some goofiness and youthful energy, a la Marianne. And I quite like Yule.
Yeah.
He's one of my like all time favorites.
Yeah. I
Like,
didn't really quite I wasn't quite attentive to the season when Yule won. But especially after watching Winners at War, I came to appreciate what he did, especially since he also formed a friendship with Jonathan Penner, who is like one of those guys that I just know about, and I know that he's like this. He was this really loud dude, and then you will forming that bond with him and helping him
yeah,
out. And yeah, so
yeah. So
I checked back on Yule, and yeah, he's one of the cooler winners of Survivor.
very level headed guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of his it the thing that really like stood out to me was when I was watching that the Cook Islands his Cook Islands appearance, right? Like his introduction was being well, this is I don't want this to devolve into how much I really like you, but like one of the things that I really appreciated was his introduction was him saying pretty much like Asian representation is good, but there is the what was it? There's the danger that it'll fall into ethnic stereotypes, having their
Mm-hmm.
tribes divided like that, and like
And that
pointing
was
out
the
that
season
sort of
when they were like
yeah,
divided into ethnic ethnicities, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
So it was he looked at it with that sort of nuance, right? It was our current gaze upon that season would have been very much like, whoa, that's terrible, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But then yes, it is, but then he kind of also prefaced it with, this is the gateway for more Asian representation
Mm-hmm.
in television, right?
True.
So that's which is more than I can say for Australian Survivor.
Well, we will get to that. Yeah, you did mention in one of our chats that yeah, Australian Survivor. It seems that there isn't a lot of diversity, and inclusion when it comes to their casting. They're a couple of years behind the American Survivor, so let's give them a couple of years. But I will have to say that in some respects they are ahead, and I will expound on that later in the stuff that you want to see.
Yeah,
So yeah, for me, I also do have Matt Blankenship as one of my standout guys. He is the one of the Asians. If I remember, there we have a couple of them. Am I right? Yeah, we have a couple of them, couple of Asians, or at least castaways with Asian heritage. And on top of that, he's an IT guy. He's a
yeah,
cybersecurity dude. So that's yeah, it's a representation. Cybersecurity IT guys or IT guy representation as well. So yeah, he looks like an Owen, of course, the Asian dude with a non-Asian surname, and
yeah.
and the glasses, right? So yeah, Matt Blankenship. What other things do you like about Matt?
His hair.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
I like the hair.
Yeah. So how about do you have any other? I do have another one. He's also this guy is from Ratu. It's
Yeah.
Brandon Cottom.
Ooh.
I had to do a double take. I thought it was Brandon Cotton, but apparently it's
Yeah.
Cotton with an M at the end. So because he's a Renaissance guy. He plays the piano. He's a former pro football player for the Seattle Seahawks, and he's a pilot as well. And currently, he is, according to his profile, he's a security specialist. I don't quite know what that means, but yeah, so that's a pretty cool job, I would like to say.
And being being a football player, the obvious sort of comparison to Danny McRae from
Yeah,
41,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
41.
and another one of the all-time greats, right? Like
Yeah.
Danny McRae. Who would have thought? Like with their sort of spotty history of having pro athletes
Hmm.
on Survivor, and planted like industry plants in the form of models and all of that
Hmm.
sort of thing. Danny McRae was one of the sort of celebrities or pseudo celebrities that had a lot of depth to his game, and so
Yeah,
um, I can see that, or I hope that Brandon can bring that same sort of depth that Danny was able to bring.
let's just hope, right? I mean, I think the fact that he does a lot of stuff probably will help. He'll have a lot of, and he'll have, and being a security specialist. He's not quite like Matt, because Matt is a cybersecurity specialist,
Cybersecurity.
right? So yeah, so let's see where that will take him, how far it will take him. Do you have any other standouts?
Yeah. Um, so something that we have to know about the way I do my picks, right? They're Filipino or Asian or whatever. But another one is sort of like my little brother, my
Mm,
little brother. Um, Part of the reason that I really liked Justine Rip last season was
mm,
cybersecurity sales, which is exactly what my little brother does,
mm,
and which is also a reason that I thought like Matt might be pretty cool because that's sort of the same industry that my little
mm-hmm.
brother was in. Somebody that I'm gonna look out for as well because of where my little brother lives is Franny.
Ooh, why?
Franny
Where
Marin,
is
because
Franny Marin come from?
well, she's currently in Cambridge, Massachusetts. My little brother lives in that area,
Oh, nice,
so I'm like, yeah, let's go.
nice.
She gives me, um, what's the name of what was the name of You're My Number One, You're My Number One,
Oh
the
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh gosh, she was my like one of my
Swati,
first
Swati.
Swati. There you go.
Yeah, she just she gives
Yeah.
me a little bit of Swati vibes, but
Mm-hmm.
like you know, uh, an
Mm-hmm.
older sort of Swati, which I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But
We'll see. We'll see.
you know,
Yeah, you're right. I can see where you're coming from. Where she does give a lot of older Swati vibe. So hopefully the age will also mean that she's a little bit more mature in the way that she handles herself and doesn't just blurt out "You're my number one" to everyone. Right? Yeah.
who else do you have as
Oh yeah.
as a standout?
The last one that I've got is for some reason I like the dude because he looks goofy. And one of the quotes that I did get from him was that he's not there for the $1 million. He's there for the title of Soul Survivor. He is the law student Kane Fritzler.
Mm,
So yeah, if you notice, Matt and Kane, they're the goofy guys, the nerds. So I'm rooting for the
yeah.
nerds and I'm rooting for the Renaissance guy. So these are my top three, my standouts.
Kane, man, he plays D&D, so come on.
Oh, I did not know that about him. So yeah, even more plus points for him, for me.
Yeah.
So the D and D dude, yeah.
on the Survivor wiki. It's really funny, right? His favorite hobbies: Dungeons and Dragons, caring for my dog, Survivor. Um, who was one of the YouTubers? Um, because of the way it is, it's Dungeons and Dragons, comma, caring for my
Uh-huh.
dog, comma, Survivor,
Uh-huh.
and so I think it might have been idled out. Was like, oh, so his dog's name is Survivor. Caring for my dog, Survivor.
Yeah. Oh well,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a bad name for a dog. Survivor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool. And every time Survivor is on TV, it'd be like Jeff Probst is
Yeah.
calling him, right? Like,
Yeah.
welcome to Survivor, and then you start seeing your dog come out. Like, yeah, I can totally dig that.
Yeah, so there you go. So what about you? Do you have any other standout performers, standout castaways? Before we've seen a second of them, because I didn't. A video came out of the first 3 minutes supposedly of Survivor 44, but I haven't checked it out. So yeah, so do you have any other standouts?
From that first like 3 minute clip, the
Mm.
standout is obviously Jam Jam.
Oh.
Everybody that's watched it will know that. Standout player. I'm not sure if he's going to make it very deep into the game, but it looks like
Mm.
he's going to be a really good character. Right?
Mm.
He's very, how do we put this? Queer eye. Like, he's got that sort of vibe.
Okay.
Um,
All right. He does work in a salon, so
yeah, he owns a salon.
he
So,
owns a
yeah,
salon. Okay, sorry. So he owns a salon, and then there's also Matthew who owns a barber shop as well. So we might see a face off of the hair cutters, of
yeah,
the hairstylists.
or or some sort of God. Sorry, I've been watching the Mo. So like
Mm,
my so top of mind, instead of saying alliance, I'm starting to say coalition because of like because of
because
the
of the
Mo,
mole.
right? Like
A coalition
the
of cutters.
yeah, the coalition of cutters or something.
So you've got
So
on one
like
side the coalition of cutters, and the other side you've got the coalition of security. So
yeah.
you've got the Brandon and Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so the player that he wants to play like is Suri, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure that it's in his personality, or yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's in his
Mhm.
personality, but we'll see. Um, Another interesting player that I'm looking forward to seeing is Carolyn.
Mhm.
From the preview, she was the one that was rubbing rocks on her face.
Oh. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
She's the drug counselor. Is that her? No.
What
The
did
blonde?
she do?
No.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
blonde
She's
with
a drug
the
counselor.
yeah.
Yeah, the one that was rubbing rocks on her face. Like, oh, she's gonna be interesting. Looks like she's gonna bring a lot of fun to the
Yeah.
season.
And she's
You
with
know,
Jam Jam, so that's gonna be fun.
right? But the person that I'm having as my canonical winner pick
Mm-hmm.
is Helen Lee.
Helen Lee. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Why?
because she identifies with Erica.
There you go. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in her
She identifies with Erica. It's a
bio.
small Asian woman, and she actually looks like one of my students, one of my former students.
Really?
Yeah.
Could pass off as like a student from a high school in Cebu.
Yeah,
Okay.
or like a more aged up version of one
Mhm.
of my former students.
Could be like the older
So
sister or the
yeah,
a relative, long lost relative.
yeah, because there were a lot of Chinese Filipinos in that school that
Yeah.
I taught at. So
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, so
Mm.
Helen Lee
Mhm.
from Tika is my canonical winner pick. I don't
Mm.
have anything like pinkish purple. I don't have anything purple.
So what's gonna
To
how you gonna rep them?
I don't know.
We'll figure it out
Yeah, I don't
as the
have a
days go
buff.
by.
I might have to buy a buff now.
Okay, I just I just got a thought because his name is pronounced Jam Jam, but
Yeah.
it's spelled with a yam, and he's in the purple tribe. So he's the purple yam yam. So he's the Uber guy. For
There
our
we go.
purposes, he is the Uber guy.
Yes. That is for anybody that is from the Philippines that's watching, that is our local word for yam.
Yeah,
Ube. So he's the ube man. Or the ube
yeah.
guy. I have ube pulveron, so like
Ooh,
I literally
that
just
sounds
had some ube pulveron before coming in to record, so that
good. I
that
miss
works.
polvoron. Uh,
So next
and
week when we record, I'll bring some of that ube pulveron. And that way, like I can make the mortal sin of podcasting and like eat on
eat.
microphone.
We don't follow the usual rules. We're rebels that way, right? I don't know. I don't know if we've ever done anything rebellious on this podcast, but anyway. So yeah, hopefully Jam Jam doesn't get eliminated next week, so it won't be ironic. Something a little bit ironic is the fact that they're all in purple, so they might get purple edited out. But I think that's gonna be hard to purple edit Jam Jam or even Carolyn
Yes.
from any of the episodes with how vivacious they are, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are our stand. My winner pick is actually he comes out from my standout. So I'm going with Brandon
Mm.
Cotton, the Renaissance man. I got Mike Gabler last season, but only because of that sequence where I saw him with mud
Yeah.
on his beard. Nothing else. Right? This guy just gives me some sort of like really cool vibe, Renaissance guy. So I'm going with him. Yeah.
Oh, another thing, right? Like
Mm.
last season, I started out with two like canonical winner
Mm-hmm.
picks, both extremely early boots. One of them first boot,
Yeah.
uh, and this is one of those like I kind of have to because she's a teacher. My other like
Mm.
canonical winner pick is Lauren.
Lauren. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's like because she's a teacher, you gotta represent the teaching profession.
Yeah, I actually was considering her as one of like my standouts because she kind of reminds me of this. I because I watch all sorts of these TV shows that are competitions, right? So I also
Mm,
especially I'm all into cooking, so I watch MasterChef,
right.
and this the one of the more recent seasons. Lauren actually looks like one of the contestants in the recent MasterChef season that I was rooting for, right? So
Okay.
I kind of
Hmm.
was, and they also like, yeah, no, she's not. That cast member wasn't a single mom, but Lauren is a single mom. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I haven't watched Master Chef in years. It's probably something that I should go back to watching. By years, I mean like a couple of like a year or two.
A year or two. Okay, well, it's been good.
Yeah.
It's been good. There have been some changes. Who knows if you get to watching it and we might birth yet another another podcast talking about MasterChef, right? So anyway, before we get all titoed out and talk all about MasterChef all of a sudden, let us go ahead and talk about the stuff that we would want to see from the 44th season. Let's go ahead with that. Go ahead, Ja. What do you got?
Uh, you know, just for everybody else, for everybody that's listening, um, we're going to be spoiling Survivor Australia
Australia.
or Australian Survivor
Yeah.
up until episode 13.
Yeah.
So that gives us that gives you guys a good indication of when we're recording this,
Hmm.
right? I just came from watching episode 14. Joel hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So I will not spoil that, but we're going to start spoiling Survivor, our Australian Survivor here.
So, spoiler warning for those of
Yeah.
you who have not watched Australian Survivor and want to watch it, we'll just give you a timestamp up there where you can go so that you can
Yeah.
watch, or yeah, we'll just let you know what timestamp to go to. so that you don't get spoiled by Australian Survivor
Yeah.
stuff. Anyway, go ahead.
I want to see somebody like George. I want
Okay.
to see
All
like
right.
a straight up villain.
All right. All right.
Because like
I
it's been a
understand.
while since, since
Russell Hantz.
Survivor. Yeah, since Survivor has somebody that you're like actively rooting against.
Mm-hmm.
The closest I think we've had was Shan, but even then, like,
Shan. Yeah.
she wasn't exactly to the levels of King George, right?
Yeah. Dude,
So,
yeah, like what I messaged you a while ago, I just simply hate George, but I appreciate what he brings to the game. But I hate Georgie from Australian Survivor. Oh my god.
yeah, right? Like, mm,
And the way that he manipulates, the way that he is able to manipulate or convince his castmates, and he does it with so much. He is so calculating with everything,
yes,
and it's really no holds barred for him. For those of you who stayed and don't mind getting spoiled by Australian Survivor, the Australian Survivor season right now is actually a season of heroes versus villains, and George is one of the all-time, supposedly one of the all-time great villains
yeah,
in Australian Survivor, and he is in this same cast with the one who beat him, Haley,
mm,
in during their season. Right. So yeah. So George, I hate the dude. I respect what he's bringing to the show, but yeah, I can understand that we it's been a lot of good vibes. The drama isn't necessarily that uh on the levels of Australian Survivor when it comes to Survivor US. So yeah, I can understand why we would need it. Would be the show might benefit from getting a George.
but
And
then at the
who do
same
you see
time,
that being
but then at the same time, I would still like it to be fun,
mm,
because like Australian Survivor, um, you know, I don't think it is as fun, right?
ooh. Mhm,
It
mhm,
it's a lot of it. I have to think about it a lot more, right? It's a lot more like strategic than it
mhm,
is just all out like fun. But I'm sure there's a way that they can balance that, like to have the villain that everybody's rooting against and all of that heavy drama, but at the same time have it kind of be fun. You
mhm,
know,
mhm.
I'm I don't I don't know if like I'm pretty sure that it's possible, but here's hoping.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you see anyone from the current cast from season 44 who might be able to fill those shoes?
no,
No, right?
not really.
It's
I don't
it
see it,
seems
but
as if they're all happy
yeah,
and
they're the I'm happy to be
nice.
here types.
Yeah.
But
But
it
you're
would be
right.
nice.
It would be
It,
nice.
it you know, it'd be nice if I don't know, like one of them emerges as the season's villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Because especially, I mean, yeah, you're right. The from 41 to 43, the closest was Shan, and Shan wasn't really too much of a villain.
Yeah.
Even her villain hum sounded happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there. What about you? What's something that
Oh
you would
yeah.
like to see?
In the same vein as spoiling Australian Survivor stuff, I do like because I was so surprised by what Australian Survivor did, especially in some of the tribal councils.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Survivor US try and emulate some of that, like the surprise individual immunity during that one
Mm,
tribal council, and then the fake swap where when they sent Jerry over to the villains. Those
yeah.
kinds of things, I think that will create a little bit more excitement, right?
The
Because it has become for me Survivor US. While I still do watch it sort of religiously, it's become routine
Right.
and that people are able to expect what's gonna happen next. So like, okay,
Yeah.
we're sort of near merge. Okay, during this episode, during this around day whatever, there's this kind of a thing that needs to happen, right? So if you plug in all of these things that they've been doing on Australian Survivor, it would help to rock the boat
Mm.
for Survivor US players. I
That
would think.
what's it was kind of insane. That mutiny was kind of insane. Like,
Yeah,
huh.
yeah,
Like
eh,
having the opportunity to mutiny be at tribal council once all of the plans have been laid out.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and yeah, without
wow.
exactly, and then there was a mechanic, right? Like, if there's only one name, that person goes straight to the other side. But
Yeah.
if there's more than one name, something else was gonna
They
happen.
draw rocks.
They draw rocks, and if no name comes up, all of them have to draw rocks.
Yeah.
So it was a
So
forced
like,
mutiny, sort of.
mm,
So
yeah. So
that's like that creates a different kind of tension. I think
yeah.
that I think Survivor US needs. That's why they're actually plugging in this new twist, sort of. That's not a twist. It's not a twist. It's development in the game, which I'm excited about. Do you have any other things that you want to see that comes from Survivor, from Australian Survivor?
Yeah. JLP is really good at tribal councils and really good at match chats. Like they're very directed.
Mm.
They're very relevant. Like the thing about Jeff Probst is that ever since the beginning, he's made it a point that he doesn't know what's going
Mm-hmm.
on the beach, right? Like he doesn't review any of the footage before tribal council.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gets to tribal council and he sort of asks questions cold,
Mm.
which works. But like when I watch Australian Survivor, I get the feeling that JLP knows about the stuff that's going on the beach
Mm.
and kind of asks questions that lead to them discussing the drama.
Ooh.
I don't know if he's just that good a host
Uh-huh.
or if he has or if he has like the producers tell him what's going on or if he's reviewed any of the footage. But like the I find the tribals on Australian Survivor to be more relevant than the tribals on
Mm.
um US
On
Survivor.
US, because especially this past season, right? Everyone's just been hedging. No, nobody's been talking directly about what's happening.
Yeah.
And if you have a host, technically a moderator, a discussion moderator who isn't able to ask the right questions to bring out he isn't able to probe correctly, right? So you won't get the scoop, the real story, right? Which in turn will create tension, which will create good television, right?
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
I don't
so
know. I want to see more heated tribal councils or like more tense tribal councils
mm,
because like yeah it's in the last season it was one of the more skippable parts of the show, the
you just
tribal,
wait
which is
to read
yeah
who gets voted out.
yeah, which is really sad because that's like the heart of the show, or it should be
Yeah,
the heart of the show because that's where the mechanics are most in play, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
you know.
So yeah, we do. I think this was the one in episode 13 was the one was I am I correct in saying that that's the first time that I actually saw a live tribal on Australian Survivor as well. I'm not quite sure, but anyway,
Yeah.
uh, and I also like one thing that I've been seeing in Australian Survivor. I don't quite know if I would like to see it in US Survivor or if it actually happens in US Survivor, is the interaction between the tribes
Oh
after
yeah, after
challenges.
challenges, the yeah, yeah, no,
Because
the
again, that creates tension. That's a chance for people from opposing tribes to interact and drop secrets to each other and maintain a relationship across tribe. Yeah.
that should work. I'd like to see that if we have a tribe swap,
Mm.
right? Because it and well, because this is a heroes versus villains Australian Survivor. They presumably like know each other a little bit more. They were,
Mm-hmm.
they were on the same seasons,
Yeah,
etc. So
especially the returning ones. Yeah.
right, so they were brought into it's sort of like Winners at War. We had like a lot of pregame there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that heroes versus villains, sort of the same thing in Australian Survivor, and so it's easier to have cross tribal alliances because it isn't like this is the first time I'm meeting the person on the other tribe. But it would work if there was a swap.
Mm-hmm.
That way, like you can communicate with one of your former tribe mates. Like, all right, so this is what's going on here as they're like hugging and being like, yeah,
Yeah.
good job. All right, tonight we're voting out this guy.
Yeah.
Like because that was the thing in the last episode, right? Like where the blind side was communicated after the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah. Poor Nina. She's now in hot in the hot water. Anyway,
yeah.
so yeah, so but I outside of the stuff that we've been seeing in Australian Survivor, one thing that I'm excited about from the US Survivor is this new development that they made, the in camp idol, right? The
Oh
camp that's
yeah.
there for everyone to see. So yeah, that's I'm interested to see how that's gonna come into play. Uh, who do you think from all
Survivor
the from
production, listen
yeah,
to the fans.
yeah, listen to the fans
Sorry.
and yeah,
Survivor production listened to the fans when we said like, hey, Survivor strategy is you shouldn't tell anybody about your idols. So, Survivor producers listen to that and we're like, no.
no.
Everybody is going to know.
Right.
That's
Do you
really
have any
exciting
thoughts?
though.
Who's gonna try and? Do you have any thoughts? Who's gonna try and get the idol from the tribes?
Who would I don't know. I don't really
It's still a little too
um
early to tell. I'm assuming. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like the idea though. Like
Mm-hmm.
to have the idol like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And either have to find a way to like get it while nobody is looking, or orchestrate something with your alliance
Uh huh.
to get everybody else distracted while you go in and pull out the uh pull out the idol.
Yeah, it's like in a locked thing, right, or something.
Yeah, it's in a birdcage or
It's not
something, right?
easily obtainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might have a Survivor China thing going on where, if you remember that, it was Amanda and what was his name? The
Yeah,
eventual
that guy.
winner. They were hanging on to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fences,
the
and
thing
then
on the
yeah, someone not from their alliance walked in on them and saw them doing it. So the jig was up because that
yeah,
idol was there for everyone to see. It's just that nobody
yeah.
knew that it wasn't a hidden immunity idol. This one, everyone knows it's a hidden immunity. It's not a hidden immunity idol anymore. So
It
it's
is
it's
just
a
an immunity
immunity
idol.
idol
Yeah.
for everyone to see.
With
So
that
yeah.
being said, I would like to see hidden immunity idols. Like
Mm.
something that I found kind of annoying was knowledge is power in the water well last season.
I guess that was like their start of telling audiences, like, you know what, from now on, everything that the castaways will need to know will just be out there.
I'd like to see something in a cookie jar,
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
and
just like in an Australian Survivor. But
and it
that
turns out,
wasn't an immunity idol. That was
yeah,
a guide to where the immunity idol is being hidden. Right.
yeah,
And
I
it
found
wasn't
that so
something written.
funny.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty
There
cool.
was, it looked like an idol, but there was no paperwork. So like,
Yeah.
it's all about the actual idol is the paperwork. No?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
because that's the one that confirms. Congratulations, you have found a hidden
yeah.
immunity idol. Right. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so maybe something like that. That would be really cool. Like, well, one actually have hidden immunity idols. But then, to it would be cool, but this is probably not going to happen. If production throws in a couple of red herrings like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like what was it which is that the at Tribal Council? I would like to play that
Oh
thing
yeah,
over
yeah,
there, right? Like
yeah,
it would have been like a 10,000 IQ play if that was like actually an immunity idol.
yeah,
But more stuff like that from production, like
yeah.
stuff that could possibly be an idol, and see if people can play it and whatnot.
Like if the Kraken actually was put in play and there was like a Kraken symbol somewhere that could actually be played as an immunity idol, that would have been
Yeah.
cool.
Or in the case of Survivor 44, like maybe a lance or like a
Yeah,
broadsword or something,
yeah.
right?
A
Because
broadsword like
like
this one that I got.
there we go. You see the uh the Survivor 44, I guess, like non-theme
Mm-hmm.
is like medieval, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I'm also excited to see how if that is actually going to come into play
I
in the
probably
gameplay.
not, but
Right? We didn't. Yeah, it will only probably only with the snuffer, the torch snuffer. It's gonna look like a helmet, maybe or something. I don't know.
that would be cool. But just I suppose we're going to be having Anduril in the background,
Mm,
just to sort of keep with the Survivor
yeah.
44 theme of
At least we'll be in
midi,
Survivor non theme.
yeah, the Survivor non-theme, right? Medieval armor. Like, would it have been so cool if they had like a castle or something,
Yeah,
like in the middle of Fiji, or at the very
Survivor.
least like a moat
Yeah,
around like the
Survivor
camp or something,
Scotland. It's Survivor Scotland, and
like
they'd
the
be
traitors
yeah another
going
yet
up against
another
the
TV
traitors.
show that a Survivor Castaway, Siri Fields won the U.S. Traitors
Yeah.
season one, and there is going to be a season two for Traitors UK.
Did
Okay.
you watch the UK version?
Yes, I did. I saw that first before I saw the US
Uh,
version. A little anticlimactic for me because they were too nice. The traitor in the end was too nice. The traitor in the end
yeah,
was too nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose. Well, no, this isn't necessarily a spoiler for that, but that's something that I don't want to see in Survivor, like the UK traders, where they're all just they're all very emotional players.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
There's
something that I found to be grating after a while.
and yeah,
Because
yeah,
all of
you
them were,
the fact that you want to see a George in Survivor US, right?
yeah.
He's a calculating, logical, manipulative villain.
But then, going back to Australian Survivor, it looks like we're going to be having, just like in the early episodes, medevacs.
Yeah,
Looks like we're going to be having
Medivacs.
a medevac or two this
Yeah,
season.
because we did see that in some of the trailers, the teasers for the season. Some of the things. Do you have anything? We've talked about things that we want to see. Do you have things that you don't want to see?
A lot of things I don't want to see, but a lot of them are going to show up. Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. It's an inevitability.
Yeah,
It's a Thanos level power
yeah.
in survivor lore.
There's something that I'm 50-50 on as well.
Mhm.
Shot in the dark. Like I know it's
Shot in the
going
dark.
to be something that's always going to be there now,
Mhm.
but like the lackluster tribals might have something to do with shot in the dark being in play,
Mm. Uh-huh.
because like
Okay.
I suppose even if Jeff does ask the very probing questions, um there isn't going to be very much actual discussion,
Yeah.
because of the possibility of a shot in the dark. But then
Mm.
at the same time, shot in the dark leads to some pretty good gameplay. A lot of you know, it incentivizes blind sides, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So like I'm 50-50 on that, but I'd like to see a new era Survivor season the without the shot in the dark.
Well, it hardly got played in 43, right? Only,
Yeah.
what was his name? The 19-year-old. He was the only one who played the shot in the dark, wasn't he?
Yeah, Sammy. Yeah, Sammy.
Sammy.
Sammy was the only
Yeah,
one, I think. Yeah,
yeah.
but it was.
Or get that mechanic right. I mean, we
Yeah,
proposed it. Unfortunately, CBS didn't listen to us that night because they we have been seeing a lot of things that sort of came from our podcast. But yeah, they need to get that mechanic right. So with the mergatory, right? That mergatory, at least they took out the
the
hourglass
hourglass.
already.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude. Yeah,
So
the hourglass is a thing that would work um exactly twice,
yeah.
right? Because like everybody knows what it is, and it's
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Unless
But
they give like options now. You can use the hourglass or something else, right? Whoever
mm,
gets exiled for Murgatory will get three options or something like that.
yeah,
And the hourglass is one of them. But three similarly powerful items, totems of power, right?
yeah.
That can change the game entirely. Any
What
other
happened
stuff?
to the
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened to the days of when you get sent to Exile Island for whatever reason, you just find an idol. Like there's a clue to an idol. Like
Oh
that
yeah, I
would
remember
seem
that.
right. Like that would
Yeah.
seem good enough.
Yeah, but I think that they've changed that with the journeys, right?
Yeah,
They've swapped it out with the journeys, the
yeah,
3-man or the 2-man journeys.
yeah. But like
So,
instead of that hourglass, right? Like send somebody to Exile Island, and
uh-huh.
at that point, like have them find a difficult idol. But then
Yeah.
it's that's the thing that we're not gonna see. Speaking of
Unfortunately.
those journeys, I really like the game theory stuff
Mm-hmm.
in Survivor US. The more recent like game theory stuff. If you do something and it works out for you, it necessarily means that something bad happens to the other players that you interacted
Mm-hmm.
with. But then if you all decide to do something that is not good for your game, then all of you get some sort of bump up in your
Mm-hmm.
game. Like I really like that sort of that game theory decision that they have to make, and I hope that that's there a lot more, um, because like they seem to be looking at having fun, and something that makes the game fun is throwing in interesting game mechanics. So having to make those decisions leads to, I would think, leads to shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Like covering yourself in blood, right? Like shenanigans.
Blood and mud. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, man? What do you want to see or not see?
Oh, well, we've covered it sort of. Yeah, the shot in the dark. I don't want to see it anymore personally, or unless they actually fix the mechanic. I think that there is something there where the mechanic becomes relevant for whoever, right?
Mm.
Like if you succeed, if the multiple players can play the shot in the dark, right, or something like that. I don't know. I don't have it quite yet. We've come up with a couple of ideas in past episodes of this podcast. For those of you who want to check out those episodes, I don't quite remember which one, so you're gonna have to go through all of our episodes to see which one it is. Where we came up with some great ideas of how to fix the shot in the dark. The hourglass is gone. The submergatory. For
It's still
me,
there, right?
earning.
Mergatory. It's still
I'm
there.
sorry. Yeah, it will.
It's still
It
there.
probably is still gonna be there. Earning your spot in the merge for me isn't has lost its flavor.
Mm.
It was okay for a couple of seasons, but yeah, just have everyone merge, right? Yeah, just have everyone merge. Don't let the whole thing of earning your spot
Uh,
is already dead for me.
it's a symptom of the 26-day season
Yeah.
because they have to make it difficult. So half the people don't get to have the merge feast. Makes it a little bit more difficult. That was kind of
Mm.
jarring. Halfway through Survivor or Australian Survivor Heroes versus Villains, day 29. What? Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the shooting period of Australian Survivor really is like a lot longer. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
they didn't go into the 26 days.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is we want the longer season. That way,
Yeah.
everybody gets the merge feast.
And longer episodes. Longer episodes.
Yeah,
We want to
longer
see a lot of the
episodes.
camp life. We want. I've been clamoring for it at the very least. I want to see a lot of camp life because we if Survivor wants us to empathize with whoever they are editing to look like the winner, we're gonna need to see how they do in camp, right?
Yeah.
That's why we got all of those palm fronds things with Gabler,
Yeah.
to show us that he is a bumbling fool just as much as he is heroic. Yeah, and all of those things that came in camp.
That's something that I like about Modern Survivor, though, like how their edits, like they don't edit the winner as like the golden boy or girl,
Mm, yeah.
right? Like you know, they uh they tell a story not of the individual player, but like of all of the players,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense, or how the players interact with each other to tell the story of the whole season as opposed to telling the story of like how Gabler won, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's something that Survivor used to do, how
Yeah.
X won
Mm-hmm.
was their storytelling. But like now I feel like they try to look for themes
Yeah.
in in this season, and they run with those as sort of their stories, as opposed to everything warping around the winner,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I mean
that's
that's why we got that really cool Jesse arc for that entire season, right?
yeah,
And we had that Owen arc as well, even the Cassidy arc, even
yeah.
all of those different arcs that came out, and it made 43 a little bit more interesting. And I
Mm.
guess it also helped that your winner, the guy who was getting the quote unquote winners edit, wanted not to be seen. He was
Yeah,
like under the surface, so you could
yeah,
highlight everyone else, and I guess that also helped because they needed to highlight everyone else to make it more obvious that the winner made good on his quote saying that he's gonna go down and go beneath the surface, right?
yeah. So that sort of storytelling, like Survivor US, please continue that
Hmm.
sort of storytelling. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not exactly like that, where you're gonna hide the winner and then just show him
Yeah,
up in the end or her up in the end. But yeah, make sure that you talk about all of the different interesting, because especially with this cast, we've got a ton of interesting characters coming out here,
yeah,
interesting castaways. So I'm sure that all of them will have a story to tell. Hopefully they do get to tell it, because of course production is also limited with what the castaways are gonna give them, but hopefully
yeah.
they do get to tell it in their confessionals, in their interactions on the beach, right? And yeah, hopefully that we see a lot of that in camp life, in challenges, or for the entire Survivor season 44.
Oh, camp life. We need more camp life. We
Yeah.
need more camp life. Again, going back to Australian Survivor, because that's all I've been watching while
Hmm.
waiting for the new Survivor season and the Mandalorian to come out. Uh, there was this in right. So episode 14, without
Hmm.
spoiling too much, um, there was a scene where they picked their tribe name because they merged, right? So
Hmm.
merged tribe. There was a scene where they were picking their tribe name, and that had story implications. I guess it tied
Oh.
into the tribal council in a way, which was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Like deciding their tribe name. So more camp life would be great. And another thing that I hope we get more of are those sorts of challenges that are like that. Their first, like, Australian Survivor, their first individual immunity challenge was Last Gasp. Like, come on,
Hmm.
man. More of that, please.
Yeah. And I've been saying it for a couple of times already that Australian Survivor just gives you that real OG Survivor US feel. They don't really quite care about they care less probably about the health and safety of their castaways. They just
Basically.
yeah, right. I mean, you've got people like wrestling each other in the water. Some of them
Yeah.
even pushing their opponents down in the water, and I was like,
Mm.
"Whoa, this is intense." But then
What's
beside the
see?
Survivor US, especially, you're saying something.
What's his name? Rob Sesternino.
Mm.
Uh, when talking about Australian Survivor, um, said that Australian Survivor is sort of going backwards, which is good for the people that like OG Survivor, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're sort of going back to the roots of what Survivor was. Um, that does have some of its problems, but uh, what was his name? The Asian dude. Let me look it up.
Which one? Who? Hi.
No, from Australian Survivor, Benjamin Law.
Oh, Benju. Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, Ben. After his boot was talking about the lack of representation in Australian Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah. Um, I really like U.S. Survivor's diversity initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watching Australian Survivor makes me appreciate the diversity initiative. Like, they all in US Survivor look distinct.
Mm.
And maybe it's just because like I have difficulty um differentiating white people until like spending a little bit more time with them, because I'm, my brain is wired to
Mm.
recognize the difference between Asian people more than sort of the difference between white people. I'm sure when white people look at Asian people, we all look the same,
Yeah.
right? um so for my sake, I guess, I like that US Survivor has all of the cast look distinctive. That
Mm-hmm.
way it's, well, one, easy for me to um get a hold of who they are
Mm,
in,
okay. Yeah.
like, instead of having to take an extra moment to figure out like, okay, which blonde dude is this, or
Mm-hmm.
okay, which like blonde girl is this, right? Like, um there's that there's that uh that step that's removed, because just at a glance I know exactly who that is, and it gives it gives us something else to latch on to,
Mm-hmm.
besides their story and besides like how they portray themselves. Like, we can attach that to somebody that looks distinct from everybody else,
Yeah.
and that's a really big thing, because you get more of that person's character by the mere fact that they don't look like the person sitting next to them at camp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
This the
maybe.
diversity in the initiative of Survivor US to be more diverse and inclusive in their casting has really been a welcome development for their show. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, that's something that they should continue to do,
Continue.
and they should bring into the other survivors,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. All right. So anything else? Any other stuff that you want to see that you don't want to see?
I really want to see a medieval theme. It's never gonna happen, but I really want to see a medieval theme.
Maybe we're gonna have a joust. I don't know. Right.
I mean, yeah.
But that should happen more in Australian Survivor rather than in Survivor US.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, more physical challenges.
Mhm.
That would be good. More camp life would be great. I mean,
Mhm.
well, their first episode is going to be an hour long, or 2 hours. It's a
Usually
longer episode,
it's one of the longer episodes.
like an hour and a half or
Yeah.
something. Like, this first episode, just like last season, that was one of my favorite episodes.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's because uh we got to spend time getting to know the players,
Yeah.
Getting to know them that way, the rest of the season can play out with us knowing who they are.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I'm sure that in the moment I'm not going to like the first episode. It's going to be like a bit of a slog to get through because it's all of the backstories and stuff. But it's one of those, in retrospect, it's a great episode because it sets up everything else.
Yeah.
So like
It's exposition. Just like any good story, you need a lot of exposition at the start.
So I guess what I'm saying is I'm hoping for a really boring first episode.
We'll see. We're gonna have a full hour or hour and a half of that, or even probably 2 hours. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. So anything else? Anything else we need to cover? Yeah, I think that's it, right? So yeah,
I don't think so. We should have like an Australian Survivor like
you
podcast.
Probably should. You probably should. Maybe when they come out with season 11, because right now I'm really rooting for Australian Survivor more than Survivor US, unfortunately.
If I'm being honest, me too.
Yeah,
because it's yeah, at the end of every like Council of Titos episode, we should have like a 20-minute like Australian Survivor sidebar that like we can put behind a Patreon paywall or something.
Well, to be fair, during this episode, we have been talking a lot about Australian Survivor. So in a sense, this has been a mixed Australian Survivor and Survivor US episode. We'll talk about that if we can actually come up with like an additional Australian Survivor. Although I think that we're gonna have to wait until the next season for Australian Survivor. They are on season 10 right now, so we'll wait for season 11. Their turnaround isn't as long as Survivor US. So I don't think we're gonna have to wait for too long for the next season. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's it for this episode of the Council of Titos. If you liked our video, were you saying something?
No.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Now, if you liked our video, hit the like button so we don't get voted off the channel. Also, consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon on the YouTube channel, so you'll get notified whenever we come up with new content on the Laro-Laro Lang channel. This channel has other shows on it aside from Survivor, aside from the Council of Titos, and it's focused on sports and other similar things. And for those of you who don't want to have to look at our mugs as we talk Survivor, you can catch us wherever you can get your podcasts. Just search for Council of Titos. Anyway, this has been Chief Bisdak Joel Parcon.
And I'm starting up our Clips YouTube channel.
There we go. And it's called Council of Titos Clips Shorts.
Yeah. If we say anything interesting, we'll put it on that channel.
There you go. So look out for that. We hope you can join us on the council again soon. Until then, stay safe, everyone. The Titos have spoken.